running for Comptroller General is certainly not a job you choose because you're looking to be famous. It's all work and no glory, quite frankly. Because if I do a great job, still nobody's going to really know it. It's not going to be famous for having done a great job as the Comptroller General. But I do see an opportunity to promote stewardship.
Welcome to The Current Situation, South Carolina's political pulse. I'm Representative Jordan Pace. Josh Gale is not with us this week. He is enjoying some family time on vacation. But today we have a wonderful guest, Mike Burkhold. He is running for Comptroller General of South Carolina, a position that, well, sadly, most people had never heard of, especially before a couple years ago. But we're going to hear from Mike in just a minute after we hear from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Joshua Gale, founder and designer at Val & Vine Jewelry. Here at Val & Vine, we understand marriage the way God designed it, a covenant rooted in unity and purpose. We also believe that jewelry is part of His design. We see it throughout creation, and we see it mentioned in the beginning of the Bible, beginning in Genesis. Gold is representing purity, diamonds representing radiance, and rings signifying commitment and covenant. At Val & Vine, our work blends this reverence with modern fashion and refined design. Every piece of jewelry is crafted with intention, guided by education, and delivered with confidence and kindness. At Val & Vine, every experience begins with a simple phone call. Whether you're just needing fashion and style guidance, or you're wanting to create something custom and uniquely yours. Whether you're envisioning a custom engagement ring, style guidance, or a meaningful gift, our goal at Val & Vine is to make your journey personal, clear, and enjoyable. So take your time, explore our collection, and when you're ready, schedule a commitment-free call with one of our team members. There's nothing we can't design together.
So, Mike, thanks for joining The Current Situation. Can you tell us, first of all, just a little bit about you and your background, and then we'll hear about what the comptroller actually is and does.
Sure. I'm a native South Carolinian, grew up in Chapin, up above Columbia. Went to the College of Charleston down here in Charleston, and my wife and I live on Sullivan's Island now. Relevant for this role, I built a healthcare tech company that processes millions of claims every week, pharmacy claims and medical claims. And am now in a position, I was actually reading the news, as you kind of alluded to earlier, and saw that the state had lost $3.5 billion, and it kind of sent me down a wormhole. The long story short is I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go take the bull by the horns and fix this thing. This feels like something that can be fixed. So many things in government feel like, it's hard to actually have a deliverable. You can walk in, say you're going to fix something, and then maybe 4 years later it's done. Mm-hmm. This feels like that to me. And so I decided to throw my hat in the ring and try to go fix this accounting system.
Yeah, I can tell you firsthand, a lot of us were stunned when we heard that those figures come out about the previous comptroller losing count of somewhere between 3.8 and 5.3 billion dollars, depends who you ask and whose version of it you hear from, which in and of itself is a huge problem. We don't even know how much he miscounted. At the end of the day, I think we spent somewhere around $7 million in the last 2 years in the general fund, just trying to figure that out with outside accountants and consulting firms, trying to sort this mess out. Can you give a short rundown of, like, from your perspective on the understanding of it, like what happened?
Sure.
To a layman.
So yeah, there was an initial booking error. We moved to a new IT system. There were some funds that were essentially booked twice. They were double counting money. So money was coming in from the federal government to go to the universities, like say USC or Clemson. And they were counting it as their money, and the state was counting it as the state's money. But then when the state went and gave a consolidated report of all of that included all the universities and the state money. That meant they were double counting the same money twice. It's my high level understanding of it. The problem is you're telling bondholders that you have more cash on hand than you do. And the real problem was like, look, accounting errors happen, Jordan, right? Like errors happen in business all the time. That's really kind of like why we work, is to solve problems, right? And so it's not terribly unique that there's an error that needs to be fixed. What the problem is that this error was known for 10 years and never addressed. They just never like went and solved it. And so it kept getting bigger and bigger, and they kept hiding it. And that just totally erodes trust, because you wonder, like, well, what else are they hiding? And what else didn't they do?
Right.
We're like, where else are things squirrely? You can't think that things were just kind of squirrely in this one really big grand place, but everything else is well run. It just doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't track. Yeah.
Right. And so I've read Senate reports on what happened and everything. There's a lot of problems in the office, but it can be sorted out. It's all fixable with the right people and the right technology and the right processes. What really my path went so straight to fixing, and I didn't know the systems were broken so bad initially. But where I really wanted to go was like, when I went down this path of like, okay, if $3.5 billion seems like a lot of money to me, how big is our state budget? I mean, and I struggled to find the state budget. So anyway, what I want to do is I finally worked all that out. What I want to do is put everything online, all of our expenses online, so we have 100% transparency. Starts out with raw data, then I can start rendering data to people so they can see it in charts. But I think that sunlight's the best disinfectant. As soon as we can get all state transactions online, you can watch the bureaucratic spend start to kind of slowly make a descent. I mean, obviously not to zero, but if nothing else, the velocity should change.
Yeah. Well, I think most people around the United States or the world, whoever's listening to this, maybe don't realize, and maybe even I'd argue most people in South Carolina don't realize, that the executive branch of our government on the state level is not practically, it's not vested in one individual. Like in most states, Florida, for instance, the governor is very powerful. The governor like appoints other cabinet level positions, things like the treasurer and, comptroller, things like that. South Carolina, we have the kind of within the executive branch, the governor's the titular head of it, but we also have the treasurer, the comptroller, the attorney general, and then in a lot of these decisions, the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate are actually involved in those conversations too. So the legislature even creeps into the executive branch. That's base level constitutionally. What is the job of the Comptroller General?
The Comptroller General is responsible for maintaining the book. So you could say the accountant, state's bookkeeper, accountant. I would say it should be by these days more of a CFO, but then also the controller, because it's an 1895 Constitution, is responsible for some basic things like approving every invoice. Okay. Once you guys in the legislature apportion money, invoices are submitted to the controller's office. The controller is supposed to inspect that payable for certain things and then passes it to the treasurer for payment. I don't feel like there's been any focus on that from what I can tell. I mean, I know right now the treasurer told me he's receiving over 250,000 invoices to pay a month. And the Comptroller General's office, and there are no systems and no staff to check that. So, if somebody wanted to commit fraud through that process, I don't think it would be that hard. And so I assume then that it's happening. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you have to with government in general, but South Carolina's, like I said, the track record, if they're miscounting billions of dollars, then you have to assume reasonably what else is going on.
That's right.
I think our listeners probably also don't realize that the current Comptroller General, who was appointed by Governor McMaster after the previous guy resigned for all these errors over 10 years, he's actually a Democrat. In Ruby Ridge, South Carolina, we have a Democrat statewide office holder that was appointed by a Republican governor. It's very strange.
Yeah. There've been some unexpected appointments over this past administration, I think. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about what your plan is to fix it. Obviously, we have a lot of issues here, a lot of problems. They're taking our money. What we don't know exactly what they're doing with it, as far as like information not being transparent. But how do we fix a problem as big as that?
I think step one is to be sure that everybody knows that all transactions will be public, right? And we're going to have to work our way there. Like with transactions, you can just you can put them in mass up on the internet and open, flat files, that type of thing, where people with the right skills can start going through them. But ideally, I want to be able to show everybody in the state where our money is spent and have a vision for having it, where you can go, if you're a computer science student, you can take the data and use AI tools and stuff, all the way to if an average citizen wants to go drill down and look at things online, different expenses. My real vision is I'd like to get it down to where it's maybe at a sixth grade level about where we spend money in our state, and try to work with, the Secretary of Education to get that put into our civics classes so people can understand how money is spent at the state level. Not a lot of exposure to that anymore, I don't think. And
None. Yeah.
it's really important. The reason I'm interested in state government is I feel like I can make an impact at the state level.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, one thing we need to realize is that South Carolina can be whatever it is we want it to be. And if we want it to be exceptionally well run, it can be. You've got to focus on that, and you've got to be committed to that. And my view on that is that it's got to start with the books. I mean, if you don't have an account, because you tax money and you spend it, that's kind of the way it is, right?
Yeah.
So the
Right.
books are the in between there. And if you don't know what's working and what's not working, which I don't think the legislature has access to right now because of the situation in the accounting system, you can't make the right decisions.
Yeah, it's difficult. We can find it. Like if we go, if an individual legislator goes looking for stuff, I can usually find it. Like I find a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but I go looking for it. It's not readily available. You have to go digging. First of all, you have to know general direction of where to go dig to find like the initial stuff of what I need to look for. Basically, the point is it's hard. It is hard for legislators to find appropriate information about where the money's going and what the money's doing. So having a one-stop shop on that would be, not only for the legislature but for the citizens, would be incredible.
Yeah. About once or twice a year, our minister reminds us that if you want to understand where your heart is, go look at your checkbook.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's what Jesus said. Yeah.
that reminds us of this. And then I've also, so which is a more governmental way of saying it is that your budget is essentially your list of priorities with dollar signs. And so the challenge right now that I see is that you do have a budget, but the budget is, what we're missing is a budget to actual. That is something a business person can look at and see the difference of, and start to hold department heads accountable, just like you would in a regular business. Like if you had a sales team or marketing team or operations team, you would say, well, what have you achieved with this money? And they should have answers for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That would be a change. That would be a whole lot better than what we got now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned your minister. We're part of the current situation. We try to come at South Carolina politics from a biblical, like Christian perspective. Is there something like in your faith background that has drawn you toward running for this position that makes you connected with it?
Yeah. I enjoy, while this is an accounting job, right? I mean, I'm more of an I'm not an accountant. I'm an executive. I've built a business and I've hired accountants. I know how to staff accountants and the types of people that process claims and payments and stuff. I enjoy leading a team. I enjoy getting out. I enjoy politics. I enjoy getting out and speaking. That gives me an opportunity to share my faith. I'm a sinner saved by grace. I owe everything to Christ. I see this as an opportunity to go serve my neighbor. It's running for Comptroller General is certainly not a job you choose because you're looking to be famous. Right. There's no, it's all work and no glory, quite frankly, because if I do a great job, still nobody's going to really know it. Right. It's not like I'll be famous for having done a great job as the Comptroller General. But I do see an opportunity, to promote, stewardship, and to be sure, we've got, the Lord's blessed me and I've been very successful in business. And, and I live in a very affluent area. I live down in the Charleston area.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
but I'm aware of, economic development in situations around the rest of the state. It's not the same. So I see this, being a good steward of the money that we do have and of the prosperity that's coming to the state to raise lift everybody's boat as a great opportunity. And so I think it plays into my faith well.
Yeah. Well, I can empathize with that every time I crack open the budget in March when we had those discussions. Part of the driving factor in my mind is realizing how much money is being taken from people's pockets, and the more and more I figured out how much of that money is being wasted or just misprioritized on things that they shouldn't be spent on, frankly. To me, that's absolutely loving your neighbor, because, like I said, people in less affluent parts of the state, they're just getting by paycheck to paycheck. Every $50 counts. Every $25 counts.
It absolutely does. I remember somebody asked me the first time I ever felt like I had made it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I could afford to put 4 new tires on the car, and it wasn't like a big deal. It's like
Right.
That's a big deal. You need new tires on the car, and you're not like flipping out over how you're going to pay for it. Or driving around on unsafe tires. It's a big deal. And you add up all the little taxes we pay and all the inefficiencies that might be in government. And if we're paying 10% too much in taxes, well, that could be that difference. These little differences around things. And I think it's likely that we probably are paying too much tax right now.
Yeah.
But until we get into the book,
I heard you.
I don't know.
I heard you speak the other day about the inefficiency aspect. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Are you talking about the other CFOs I talked to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I have met as I've researched this role, because I want to be good at it when I get elected. I've gone and met with some men who were CFOs at Fortune 50 companies. Companies with budgets bigger than South Carolina's. And I've described to them our payables process and our procurement process and all the things that lead to inefficiency. And they were real quick to say, "Oh, easy 10%." Like picking up money off the floor, type of 10% in this type of arrangement. Like and even saying, understanding that, CFO in a big company like that, if they're trying to turn things around, they're pretty much dictating what happens, right? Period. And you don't get to do that in the state. You got to work with the legislature and department heads. But their 10% even accounts for that. They think there's just going to be enough inefficiency in a old accounting system where it appears that because of the $3.5 billion, there hadn't been any real oversight for 20 years. That's likely to be the case. And my plan is, for lack of a better term, I plan on doging the state. I'm going to go through every big contract we have and be sure that we're paying at the right rate. Is it something we're supposed to be buying? Is it expired? Is it something we have to have? I want every department head to re-justify their expenses. to certify that it's something they're using. I get to write the accounting rules and the requirements for paying these invoices. I'm going to crank down on that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But and to translate to listeners, what does 10% mean? Our budget this past year is about $14.5 billion of state dollars, not counting federal money and everything else. So it'd be almost $1.5 billion is 10% of the total. And if you're looking at like average taxes paid, South Carolina, just the income tax, your average family in South Carolina is paying about $2,200 a year just in income tax. That's $220 a year. In theory, could be saved by every household. That $220, I mean, that's depending on the size of your tire.
That's true. Yeah, at least one tire.
Yeah, I mean that could be one tire if you got a big tire. But
and I don't know that we're not
driving a sedan.
Yeah, and I don't know that we're not going to be able to have an impact on the total budget, which is closer to $43 billion, right? So you got other funds and federal match. I wouldn't give up on that either because, well, the other place, Jordan, is like you can say, so this is how it's like when you're running a company, right? Is anything that you're wasting, you're not taking home. Okay. That's the way you would normally look at it. If I've got any waste, then I don't get to take home the profit, right? Which is essentially, a way of looking at the taxes. But the other thing is if you're trying to make your company healthy, what you want to look at is you want to look at, so not only are we not paying like contracts that are expired, but also once you look at it, you can say, well, this money is really being spent in a low priority area, and we could move it to a high priority area and get a better return on it for taxpayers.
Right.
And so it's not only like with good financial management shouldn't just result in tax savings, but it should result in better overall results of places you'd want to reprioritize money that's just kind of, being spent in an approved area, but having no good effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I could give an example of that, and this isn't necessarily something, this is a legislator issue, like a legislative thing of setting those priorities. The tax dollars have a much bigger impact from my perspective going to fix bridges. We have 1,000 bridges around the state that have weight restrictions on them because they have to be either fixed or replaced. Your dollars are much more impactful fixing those bridges than they are funding millions of dollars to the Arts Commission, who are putting on festivals and giving awards for gummy bear statues and stuff. So it's the same amount of money, but the impact is a whole lot different. Yeah,
so the other thing is you kind of want to put your budget together with a work plan, which should prioritize your most important things, and that should show more light on your. I mean, like art fairs and stuff are things that's easy to get people to contribute to, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've raised money for
private entities can sponsor.
Yeah. Bridges, just people aren't going to do it, right? Because that's a government task. So it's like, if you can focus on the fundamentals and get those down, then maybe you do some of this other stuff. But I think we got a ways to go on that. I mean, that's up to you guys, but I can certainly show you the way on these things.
Well, that would be an incredible improvement. Mike, is there anybody else running for this race that you know of?
No. As of now, there's nobody else running or planning to run that I'm aware of.
Yeah. That's even better news. But you're still going to win the race.
That's right.
Hopefully nobody else jumps in. But where can people find information about you and what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Last name is Burkhold, Burkhold, and then my website is burkhold.net. So burkhold.net. And then if people want to email me, it's mike@burkhold.net. So that's where they can find me.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
We'll put all that in the show notes.
Okay.
So people can find it. But any last words before sign off?
Yeah. I'm excited about this place where we are in the state right now. I mean, we got something to be fixed in this office. I mean, that's, like I said, that's what work is, right? You got a problem, you go fix it. This is fixable. Somebody does have to jump in and do it who's competent doing it. And I think I'm the person to do that. But what I want to emphasize is I'm an optimist. I think South Carolina is at this amazing inflection point right now where if we make the right financial choices and we've got a lot of choices that you guys have to make, like education and some other things. But if we make the right choices on that, I think we can be the freest, most prosperous, most financially well-run state in the union. We've got that opportunity.
Yeah.
We really do. And it's just going to take a little vision to get us there. Hopefully what I'm doing can be the foundation for that, and my enthusiasm can affect everybody else.
That's right.
That vision, yeah. So.
That's awesome. Well, I amen to that. Let's get it done. Let's make it happen. Mike, thanks for joining us on the current situation. We look forward to keeping up with your race, and hopefully very much not a race. You can just sail on through and get to fix our messed up system.
Thanks so much, Jordan. I appreciate the time.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you all for listening. See you next time.